Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next, I'm so excited to introduce our newest sponsor, kicking off the HighThere segment by Kaya Now. Can you guess what type of platform HighThere is? Well, I'll give you a hint. High is spelled H-I-G-H. Still nothing? It's associated to a plant. High and plant. Yup, you guessed it. We're talking about cannabis. Leo Giel, CEO of Kaya Now, will be joining us regularly, bringing us the latest in cannabis edutainment. One of Kaya's focuses is on the development of the HighThere platform and app, where you will find a cannabis-friendly social network. Today, Leo is coming on to chat cannabis and some, but he's coming on with reinforcement. That's right. In order for us to help pave the way even further for the century-old plant, we need to educate the masses on its uses, clarify the misconceptions, and debunk the myths. Hence, Stormy Simon, an e-commerce pioneer, a corporate leader, a cannabis activist. Now, Stormy landed at Overstock.com way back in 2001 as a temp. She spent 15 years at the company, ending her remarkable tenure in 2016 as both a board member and president. That's when she surprised the business world by venturing into the cannabis industry, bridging her advocacy with her professional life. She is now board director at Kaya Now. Now, as they get settled into the broadcast room, let's chat. During a year that saw hundreds of thousands of American deaths and widespread suffering, so-called vice industries thrived. Whether for mental health needs, self-medication, or pure recreation, the consuming public hoarded alcohol and other substances in an effort to cope with the outbreak and social isolation that took place over the last 24 months. And one of the biggest beneficiaries was the cannabis industry, which saw explosive growth. That's expected to continue well into the next decade and beyond as an increasing number of states legalize recreational marijuana use. Americans purchased $18 billion in cannabis products over the past calendar year alone. And here to chat some more are Leo Giel and Stormy Simon. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Hey, Zen. It's good to be here.
Good morning, Zen. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. Okay, Leo, congrats on HighThere. HighThere believes that you have a collective responsibility towards eradicating the stigma and all this misinformation and inequities surrounding this plant. And it's a very much needed virtual space for cannabis users and enthusiasts to connect and come together. What is your mission with the HighThere app? Talk to me.
Honestly, Zen, highest level, we want to connect every cannabis consumer in the world. And that doesn't mean you have to consume it by inhaling it. That could mean you just want to learn about it. That means you might want to use edibles, you might want to use creams, or you might just want to make some friends because you are a cannabis open or friendly individual. So that's it. You know, we just want to play a place that folks can be safe and comfortable and free. The problem is, the big tech guys, they don't allow you to create cannabis related content. And if you do, you get kicked off their platform. So that's why we're here. Come to us at HighThere. We're happy to have you. We'll protect you. And you're free to speak how you want to speak as long as you respect our rules and respect one another.
I love it. And you can get started directly. You could get started on the app with just your Facebook profile. I know I did it myself. And from there, you can find your friends and your professional contacts. It was really kind of a one-step process. I started chatting with others and in groups right away. I started checking out all the reviews and I was very impressed. You guys even have local dispensary finders on that, which is great. Stormy, so excited to have you on.
So happy to be here.
All right, let's dive right into who is today's cannabis user. Okay, so companies across industries are chasing this attractive new demographic. This dream customer, right, is more likely to own pets and to love fashion, to want kids and to consider starting their own businesses. This specific demographic that I'm talking about, and you know who it is, we also make quite a bit of money and we're still spending it during the pandemic. Yes. That's right. I'm talking about cannabis users. Such an attractive demographic. In fact, some consumer goods and technology companies, Stormy, are actively courting them as customers. Hence, HighThere app. What do you say to this?
I say it's about time. Like, it is time for the revolution of not just this plant, but many plants. But it's a perfect time for something like HighThere. And we've seen things since cannabis started becoming legal, or at least going through state functions versus just being on the street. It's time for there to be a voice that is the people's voice, not the government's voice, because the people's voice for the past 40 years, however long our war on drugs has been the correct voice. Our government voice has been quite a bit distorted with stigma and fear in prisons in regard to plants. We want to take all of that and throw it away. It's time. It's our time to do this. So HighThere, what it began as a way just to connect with consumers. Like, where's a professional consumer like myself who maybe worked at a company and found success while benefiting from the usage of cannabis? Well, there's not many out there that talk about it like I do. In HighThere, I can find my group, I can create my group, and that's how it started. And today, the contributors of the content, the support from within the community, and the team that's actually putting this together, it's not a joke. It's not because we're high. It's because we're concerned that our medicine has gotten off tracks, that our voices are being suppressed, that legitimate businesses aren't being treated the same. We want to give them a platform, the audience, and the people's voice, all there on HighThere. And then, eventually the government's going to catch up to the wisdom and start allowing this plant to us and through science in the means that it should be. And in the meantime, we will deliver trustable content.
Couldn't agree more. And gone are the old cliches about washed up stoners, right? An MRI, actually, it's an MRI Simon survey from 2020 showed that people who consumed cannabis were 22% more likely than non-cannabis users to seek out variety in their everyday lives. There was another 32% more likely to want to be first to try new products and services, and 25% more likely to make impulse purchases. All right, well, that's not the best one, but that's still a good one to know from a marketing perspective.
Anyway. Yeah, that's true.
And it's funny because we're also good at influencing. There's 27% more likely to keep social media feeds updated and 25% more likely to share their opinions by posting ratings or reviews, which is great. So now I'm going to shift this to Leo, who is the business guy behind it all. Leo, let's chat science meets the plant. According to the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, CBD dominates as a treatment for different seizure disorders. Furthermore, cannabis has shown very promising results with its ability to kill cancer. It has been shown to treat not just the symptoms of chemotherapy that most people think of, like vomiting or loss of appetite, but it actually treats the cancer symptoms. Okay, so it has shown potential to kill the cancer cells themselves. And this is research that matters, and it's facts that matter. Talk to me about the importance of research in this field and how important it is for the community to have the medical professionals support the cannabis industry on the HighThere platform and throughout.
Sure. That's a great point, Zen. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to discuss that. I can tell you I have 4 children. My second oldest daughter developed a rare form of epilepsy. And after numerous scary incidents of rushing her to the hospital, not knowing what's happening. And the hospital is saying, your daughter is exhausted. She's tired. She's dehydrated. My wife and I kept scratching our heads. And the last time she had a seizure, we took her in, and my wife and my mother-in-law went to work while we were in the medical emergency room and started looking for symptoms online. And they actually helped the doctors discover it was a rare form of epilepsy. The good news is it happens when you're sleeping, which is safer because you're not moving around. But the problem was they were misdiagnosing her. So we went to see a very well-known doctor, and he said, listen, take these pharmaceutical pills, everything will be better. And we said, hold on. And we actually went the alternative route, and we looked into CBD, and it helped her tremendously. Avoided us getting involved in the pharmaceutical industry and being, in need of this particular drug. And I started thinking, this was probably 6 or 7 years ago, I started thinking, wow, how often does this happen? And if you go into our community and you look around, you'll see hand raisers. Hey, I was addicted to Oxycontin. I was addicted to Percocet. I used cannabis to get off of these pharmaceutical drugs. And I thought that was one of the most beautiful things. And it ties into what both of you are saying here today. The time is for the people to take control, make our own decisions, and be smart about what we put in our bodies.
Without
we,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we hired a team of doctors to also help, who are cannabis friendly doctors, to help bring awareness, because cannabis can be overwhelming. There's so many products, and marketers got involved, and you want to make smart decisions. But we got a team of doctors, and if I have it my way, one day you'll have free online access to our medical team to help guide you. But I think it's time to open our minds, and with the use of the internet, there's so many options out there that you just don't have to rely on the pharmaceutical drugs that we used to.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Okay, so I'm going to throw this to Stormy right now because we have about 3 minutes left, and I want to chat high-level users before we cut to a commercial break. But there's a lot of science. THC is psychoactive. The CBD has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Ideally, medical marijuana is a mix of components in a ratio such that the psychoactive effects are minimal and medicinal effects are maximized. I'm a huge advocate of the plant, a high-level daily licensed user. I use a 50 to 50 ratio in the daytime and a 20-to-1 high THC in the evenings. Talk to me, Stormy. What inspired you to turn to cannabis? You have about 2 minutes.
A couple things, I think. First of all, without the education, in 2016 and prior, you were kind of wondering why cannabis worked for you. Am I just a stoner? Is there something beneficial? Well, 15, 16 years into my overstock journey, it was a long time. I did a lot of work there. All of a sudden, I start hearing this recreational states. Like all of a sudden, the states are ahead of the federal government, and it's going to happen. So the idea that history was literally being made, in a history that I thought I'd never see, and the ramifications of each piece that this plant touches, from medicine to prisons to businesses, it is within our universe every day. And to not jump into this industry, to say, I'm going to stand on the sidelines after I found benefit from this plant my whole life, most of my life, it didn't feel authentic to me. I thought I was going in as part of this green rush, but the people, the sickness, and the politics actually turned me into more of an activist. And, I couldn't be more happy with the decision I made, even though, I haven't made a ton of money doing it, but I am passionate about the movement and the end of this particular prohibition and what that does for all of us in 100 years.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, and as cannabis becomes more culturally acceptable and legalization spreads across the nation, this trend is only going to continue. I was reading a report from New York Frontier Data. They project that the legal marijuana industry in the U.S. alone is going to swell to $42 billion by 2025. So you're right on point, Stormy. Well, that's the end of our segment. Thank you so much for joining me, Leo. It was so insightful, and thank you so much, Stormy. You are just a bundle of energy and filled with so much information. Thank you.
Thank you, Zen.
Thank you so much, Zen.
Bye, guys.
Well, listen, guys, at the end of the day, all in all, cannabis is used to supplement the healing process of acute and chronic ailments, not just people getting high. That's why it's essential to support the cause and study to understand its full potential as a medicine. Hopefully, with the spread of the right information and research support, we can see more conclusive results sooner than later. But here's what you guys have to do. Head to HighThere.com. That's where you will find your safe haven. HighThere.com, and definitely check out the app. Download it at HighThere app. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. That was our Hi There segment by Kaya Now. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to our Hi There segment by Kaya Now. We are chatting with CEO Leo Giel, and we're chatting economy and legalization of marijuana. Now, the legalization of marijuana throughout the country could create up to 1 million jobs by the year 2025 in the U.S. alone. Now, workers are needed to farm, process, distribute, and sell marijuana and all of its related products. Medical cannabis has not only created jobs, but has also generated a significant amount for taxes. For instance, Colorado back in 2019 collected more than $302 million in taxes and fees on medical and recreational marijuana. Now, as an investor in the space, Leo, where is this emerging and very disruptive industry headed?
It's going to go to the moon. Honestly, we hired on the former editor-in-chief of High Times, and this is a big area of focus. So, we're a technology company, but we're also very keen on editorial. And some of the data insights we glean off of our platform are the amount of people looking to get into this space. So we're working to build relevant resources and content to help community to get into this space. They want to work in this space. And I think we're just getting started. And if you think about not only the US, the potential for this market globally, it's projected to be about $170 billion industry in the next 5 years. And we're really excited about it. And we want to be a source for individuals to come and learn and get involved in the industry. And we're hiring ourselves. So if you're looking to get in the industry, go to HighThere.com, send us a message. We'd love to talk with you.
I couldn't agree more. I love it. All right, Stormy, let's talk about street drugs here because I'm completely against street drugs. So the FDA's alert specifically warns against buying vaping products from the street. In fact, a recent article back in September suggested that the dangers related to non-medical marijuana vaping products could even lead to federal cannabis legalization, which would allow regulatory boards to make sure harmful agents are not included. Just like the days when alcohol was outlawed in the United States, back when thousands of people died every year as a result of tainted liquor produced in the underground and black markets. What do you say to this, and where do you think the gap is for curbing street drugs and really going the regulatory route?
Well, it's a complicated story because street drugs, when we talk about cannabis, we can put it in a bucket. It's education, right? It's telling people, it's legalization. The FDA comes out and says, hey, if you vape like this, it's very dangerous. Don't buy it off the street. And you're living in a state that you don't have access to it. Yet the FDA is telling you something is bad and they're not providing your alternative of safety. There's a lot of things to comb through. It gets very tangled quickly because the real answer is, why not? If we really have a war on drugs, it would mean getting cannabis completely off the street, as it's not a drug in that form, and start addressing some of the other dangers that people are having to experience through their street drugs because their pharmaceutical drugs aren't supporting them yet. So yes, on legalization, when we talk about this vaping thing, I think about kids in high school. If we are not talking about this without a stigma, if you can talk to your child about this by putting your cannabis in your medicine cabinet next to your other stuff, maybe that's a shift. But what you can't do is pretend like it doesn't exist, and neither should the federal government.
I couldn't agree more because, when you look at the street drugs, they in fact all contain vitamin E acetate. And we know that this has attracted a lot of attention, right, as a result of these oil cartridges, mainly they all contain them, versus the dispensary where they use cannabis derived terpenes, right, in all of the vape pens. And this is clearly what is reducing the viscosity of cannabis extracts for vaping. But a lot of children, a lot of teens are buying things off the street, like you said, because there is a gap in the market. There is the stigma. Their parents are going to be afraid, their mom and dad won't support them. So I do believe that we should be headed towards the right educational platforms and should be steering traffic to educate the public first before we just start pushing everybody to start consuming.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I agree. And I just wanted to put a period on that with saying, we all have children, grandchildren, and they attend when I talk about this. It needs to be a part of a conversation. These children are growing through a stigma that will become a very important medicine in their life. So it's very confusing. They're buying that off the street thinking it's good because there are stores that have it. It's a very important conversation to have with teenagers right now. Extremely important.
Yes,
I'll tell you, one of the reasons why we started to develop a medical staff at HighThere was I heard horrible stories. So many actually tragic stories about fentanyl and street drugs. And I thought, wow, we have to be the ones to fix this. So we're going to continue to invest in medical resources. We're going to continue to develop tools on how to source, use, and learn about cannabis responsibly, because there's so much that goes into this. And like you said, it's confusing. If you're, just like someone who's going to begin drinking, a kid who's 21 who can begin drinking, if you don't know how to drink responsibly, you might drink and go get in a car and, but obviously that's not in today's world, because there's a lot of resources that tell you otherwise. But as it pertains to cannabis, there's so many people just turning the other way, conflicting messages, and we're going to solve that problem. That's a big mission for the company.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Well, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. Leo, pleasure talking to you. Stormy, thank you so much for all your insight.
Thanks, Zen.
Thanks, Zen. Have a great day.
Thanks, Leo, and thanks, Stormy. Now, also, for the naysayers out there, studies indicate no statistical association between cannabis smoking or use and any incidence of lung cancer, head cancers, or neck cancers. It basically boils down to what you are inhaling, not the actual act of inhaling that is causing concern. And all street cannabis oil cartridges do contain something called vitamin E acetate, and that is definitely a chemical you don't want to be inhaling. I think that the mainstreaming of medical cannabis is going to depend a lot on state level industries' ability to develop products that appeal to customers' health needs. And also it's going to depend on whether or not companies are able to work with the government to enable further access. But there is one platform that is a safe haven. Make sure you check out HighThere.com. HighThere spelled HIGH, and make sure you check them out on the gram at HighThere app. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. That was our HighThere segment brought to us by Kaya Now.